Hello and welcome to the Leveling Up podcast with me, George Swift from Bigger, Brighter, Bolder. I'm also the founder of BBB Success Groups for ambitious entrepreneurs and extreme growth masterminds. The Leveling Up podcast is here to give you the personal development, the entrepreneurial development and the business growth that you, the small business owner, desires. We're here to give you the inspiration, the motivation and to challenge your aspirations to take you and your business to the next level. Don't forget to tune in every Monday and Wednesday for mindset, attitude, personal performance and business growth content, and on Fridays for our Friday 5-minute fix. Subscribe to this podcast and never miss an episode. Okay, so today we are talking about business and entrepreneurism and how I distinguish or define the two separately. I have a saying which is business is a skill set, entrepreneurism is a mindset. The company Bigger, Brighter, Bolder that I founded predominantly started all around mindset and attitude. It was actually latterly into its development that we started to do much more business growth stuff, business development, sales, all those kinds of things, marketing. We started to bring that kind of content to the groups in our masterminds a little bit later on. Originally, it was mindset, it was attitude, it was personal performance. And even to today, the majority of the work we do, the majority of what you're going to hear on this podcast, whilst it is about business growth and it is about entrepreneurism, so much of the content on this podcast is mindset, attitude, personal performance. The reason being is really simple. The majority of your success and or failure is down to your mindset and your attitude first and foremost. Your mindset gives rise to your attitude. So your mindset is how your mind is set up. Your attitude is kind of how your mindset plays out. That's how we can say to someone, we can look at someone's attitude and say they've got a bad attitude, they've got a great attitude. What it really is just a display of their mindset. And of course, their personal performance, their behaviors is directly linked, obviously, to that attitude. And of course, our success, our results are determined and defined by our level of activity, the level of our personal performance. Ultimately, it's our behaviors. What we do, what we don't do, and how we do or don't do it determines what we get back. So mindset gives us our attitude. Our attitude plays out through our behaviors, our actions, and of course, every action has a reaction. That's the results that we get back in life. So still to this day, you'll hear me banging the mindset drum above all others. The reason being, if we can get the mindset right, then you are in the game. I could give you the best business in a box, the best model. I could give you everything you needed in order to make a successful life. But ultimately, if you don't get the mindset right, if you haven't got the mindset to apply what you've been given, then ultimately you will never be successful. The mindset leads everything else. It's not the be all and end all, but it certainly is the first and foremost thing that you want to get right. So why do I say business is a skill set and entrepreneurism is a mindset? Well, the truth of the matter is you can learn business skills. You can go to business school. You can get a book and it can teach you, how to read accounts, how to do cash flow forecasts. It can teach you the mechanics of a sales process or the mechanics of a marketing process. It can teach you, how to manage people. A coach can teach you, can show you the ABCs, how to manage someone, how to do performance reviews. You can learn this stuff, right? But it's the application of the learning which is what is ultimately going to give you the results in your business. And the application is directly linked to mindset. And for me, when I look at business and entrepreneurism, the difference I see is that business is like the cogs and it's the machinery of business. And you can learn to run that machine. You can go to Harvard, Princeton, you can go to Oxford, Cambridge, you can get a top level MBA. It won't mean shit, by the way, in entrepreneurism terms, but it will probably land you a pretty good job in somebody else's business, pushing the buttons and turning the handles in making someone else's business work. Now, I know I may be insulting all those MBAs out there and everything else, and I'm sure there's entrepreneurs who have also gone and got MBAs and everything else, but you get what I'm saying here, okay? You go to school, you learn how to run a business. but it doesn't show you how to create a business. Even if it shows you the creation process, you know, go out and find a pain and target that pain, or go out and find a need and target that need, then take your marketing and then you apply your marketing in this A, B, C. The truth of the matter is it's like riding a bike. Business success, I can teach you all day long in a book, right, and say, right, you want to find the balancing point, you want to pedal, keep your handlebars relatively loose, but also keep them under control. You want to lean a little bit left and all this. I could tell you all day long in a book the mechanics of riding a bike. The only way you're ever going to ride a bike or learn to ride a bike is getting on that bloody bike. And you get on that bike and then you feel the wobble, and then for a moment you find balance. And you go, oh my God, like for 2 seconds, that's what, you know, he meant by balance. And now your brain starts saying, right, I've got to find that balance again, right? And that's how we learn stuff. We learn through our trial and errors. We learn through applying stuff. So for me, you know, yes, you want to keep upping your business skills. Yeah, you definitely want to continually get better at business. Of course you do. And the more your business grows, the more skills you're going to need in your business. When you first start out, who gives a shit if you've got an MBA? Who gives a shit, right, if you understand like £1 million marketing strategies or print media marketing strategies, or you understand, you know, it's pointless. You haven't got any money, right? You haven't got anything necessarily even to sell right now. It's pointless. Who needs to know about how to manage, how to do performance appraisals? Who needs to know all that stuff if you haven't got any staff? So the point I'm trying to make to you here is really simple. Entrepreneurism is something you really throw yourself into. One of my favorite quotes about entrepreneurism is throwing yourself off a cliff and building your plane on the way down, or building the parachute on the way down, okay? I love that whole concept. Now, I'm not saying you should be reckless or foolhardy, but I'm telling you now, one thing I find in common with most, if not all, entrepreneurs is there's a little bit of blind optimism at the beginning, right? That blind optimism that thinks, you know what, this time next year, I'm going to be a millionaire, right? There's that little bit of blind optimism. I always say we do need a little bit of blind optimism in entrepreneurism or in business, because if we really understood how tough business was going to be, if we knew, you know, all the ups and the downs on that journey, you know, if we understood just the hours we were going to have to work in order to be successful, the risks we were going to have to take, how close we were going to have to potentially sail to the wind sometimes financially, maybe how we had to, you know, borrow money, beg for money, how we had to like put mortgages on credit cards, and I'm telling you now, I've done it all. Everything I've just said, I've done it all. We have done it all to get to this point in our business. If you knew the heartache, if you knew all of that stuff up front, it's very likely you would never have started this journey. The ignorance that we often have at the beginning of our entrepreneurial journey is absolute bliss, right? Ignorance is bliss. Very quickly we get our rude awakening. I have a saying, I'll do a podcast on this another time, but I have a saying, you know, before you can live the dream, you have to survive the nightmare, okay? In other words, there's a lot on offer as an entrepreneur, right? I always say this, we have entrepreneurial freedom. We have the freedom to do what we want, how we want, when we want, the way we want, with who we want, for who we want, for the price, the wealth that we want. We have so much freedom, but it comes at a price, right? It comes at a price. And normally we're not fully aware of the price that we need to pay when we first start off our entrepreneurial journey. It's a mindset that gets us started. It's an attitude that gets us started. And then you're hit with these challenges. And then guess what? You develop your mindset and you develop your attitude. You cultivate a personality that rides the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of business, the one that takes on the challenges, the one that can take those risks where, you know, you feast or you starve based on your performance alone. Now that is an attitude, right? And entrepreneurism for me is the attitude of taking the risks, of being creative in business. I often refer to entrepreneurism as being a creative business person. So an entrepreneur, a creative business person. So rather than someone just runs a business, there's someone that solves problems, that someone goes out and they create solutions, or they don't even necessarily solve problems. They go out and bring things to life that we don't even necessarily know we need. Steve Jobs was a genius at this with the iPad and the iPhone, and you know, he was constantly inventing things that didn't solve any problem. He was inventing things that he knew we needed long before anyone even knew we needed them. Does this make sense? So entrepreneurism is about that taking that leap of faith. It's an attitude that says, you know what? I'm going to go it alone. I'm going to go out there, and whatever life throws at me, I'm going to have to deal with it often on my own, right? And that's what it's about. Business, I'm not dissing business. I'm not necessarily having a go at business. All I'm saying is all the business skills in the world will not make a successful person. It's the mindset, the attitude, the entrepreneurism that will create the success. Do you need business skills? Less at the beginning, more as your business starts to grow, for sure, okay? I remember getting taught loads of shit about business, right, long before I ever needed it, you know? And some people will say this is best practice, you know? Get your things in place, get your systems in place, your processes in place, get this in place, and the dashboards and your financial accounting, get it all in place. I know that. I know so many people out there now probably screaming at me, right? But guess what? Get an accountant for that. Get a bookkeeper for that. Get other people to help with that stuff. The entrepreneur is the person that has to lead the business, that has to be at the forefront of the business, that has to put their neck on the line, that has to go out there, find customers, sell to customers. Initially, when it's just a one-man band, you have to then deliver your product or your service to those customers as well, okay? You don't need to get buried in the machinery and the mechanics of business. As your business starts to grow, yes, you need to up your business game. There's so much more I've needed to learn since I've hired multiple employees and our cash flow obviously has got bigger, our outgoings get big. Of course, there's all kinds of skills that you do have to learn. But trust me, all the skill that I have today in business wouldn't really have, still, even everything I know now in terms of skill set, wouldn't really change anything back at the beginning. The things that would change my performance the second time around is the stuff that I've learned that would change my mindset and my attitude and my approach to business. Yes, of course, I would take some of what I've learned in this journey in terms of my skill set as well. But I just want to get you to really understand this, right? It's a bit like going to a personal trainer, right? They can give you the perfect nutritional plan. They can give you the perfect training plan. Literally, they can tell you everything to put in your body, everything you need to do in order to get the result that you want. If your mindset and your attitude is not in the right place, you know the result. You're not going to do what you need to do to get the result, even if I give you it on a platter. That's why so much of what we do here on the Leveling Up podcast, at Bigger, Brighter, Bolder, at Success Groups and our Extreme Growth Masterminds, so much of it revolves around mindset and attitude, the emotional journey of entrepreneurism, not the skill. Yes, we do absolutely help with skills. Of course, you need to know what you're doing. Of course you do. But when you're focused on skill, but you're not focused on mindset, all you're doing is developing more skills that you're not going to apply. Get your mindset right, get your attitude right, then develop business skills, and then you've got more skill that you will be applying because you've got the correct mindset and you've got the correct attitude. As I said it right from the beginning, right, that's my saying. Business is a skill set, entrepreneurism is a mindset. Get your mindset right if you want to start your business, launch your business, take your business from nothing to 50 to 100 to 500,000 to 1 million to 2 million, 5 million. We've seen it all through our masterminds. We've seen it all through our clubs. People going from back bedrooms to running multi-million pound businesses. And I'm telling you now, yes, they are skilled business people today, but it wasn't those skills that got them where they were today. It was the mindset, it was the attitude that did that, because your mindset dictates your attitude, which dictates how you show up, what you bring to every day, every week, every month, every year in your business. Of course, I caveat all this by saying, if I give you the greatest mindset, if I give you the greatest attitude to business and everything else, if you don't know jack shit about how to do business, of course, you'll be like out there like a demon, a dervish, out there just high performing, but you won't get a lot of result. Of course you do need skills. Of course you do. Of course you do. I'm just trying to share the imbalance that often we put on skills and knowledge over attitude and application. Okay? Attitude and application is where success is made. The skills are what you are applying. All right? You can go and learn all the skills at Harvard and MBA and everything else, and you may well be brilliant at running somebody else's business. If you want to start your own business up and everything else, you may learn something on those courses that will help you. Of course you might, but I'm telling you now, it isn't going to add up to a whole lot of shit. You will get everything you need from a really good mentor. You'll get everything you need by being surrounded by people who have done what it is you're trying to do. That's how you're going to get the best learning you're ever going to get. It's education from people who have applied what you are trying to apply right now. It's observing other people and looking at how they are performing, looking at what they are doing. But more than that, it's more than that. It's so much about watching them, how they show up to things, how they navigate themselves through life and through their business, their mindset, their attitude, and their application. Yes, you do need business skills, but do not hide behind, the next course or the next certification or the next thing, thinking that if I can just get better qualified, if I can just get another degree or another piece of paper or certification, that somehow my success is going to come from that. Your success is not going to come from knowing everything there is to know about web design or everything there is to know about sales. That's not where success is going to come from. Success is in the application of what you know. So that's my message. It's a rant, it's a broadcast, it's something I'm so passionate about. There's so much information out there on what to do, and there's so much like how-to stuff out there. Some of it's terrible, some of it's nonsense, some of it's absolutely bloody awesome. But if all the knowledge is out there that we need in order to be successful, why are we not all successful? If we know everything we need to know about being fit and slim and healthy and active and health and all that sort of stuff, right? And weight loss, if we know it all, why is it that we're not all running around with six packs and everything else? Okay? It's got nothing to do with not knowing, right? It's all to do with not doing. And behind the doing is the mindset, it's the attitude, right? And that's why it's so important that we, see yourself as a business person by all means, but an entrepreneur is an attitude. It's an attitude for taking life by the balls, an attitude for taking responsibility for themselves, taking responsibility for their outcome, not blaming anybody else. It's leadership. It's bloody mindedness. It's stubbornness. Sometimes it's delusion. Okay, I always say, you sometimes are delusional right up until you achieve something. Then when you achieve something, that's when you become a visionary. Sometimes it requires that. All of that stuff is an attitude. Does this make sense? It's not a spreadsheet. It's not it's not how to use a database or how to use word processors. It's not about, how to read financial forecasts. Yes, you do need that shit. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of this stuff doesn't even come into play until you start to really grow your business. To get your business moving forward, it's all about application. Then it's about more knowledge, but it's then about the application of that knowledge, the mindset and the attitude. Then it's about getting more knowledge, and it's the application of that knowledge. So that's how I distinguish those two things. It can rub people up the wrong way sometimes. I hope I've made myself absolutely clear. I'm not saying the business skills are not needed. All I'm saying is they're not going to get you success. The entrepreneurism, the mindset and the attitude, that is what's going to give you your success. The applications of the ability you have, the application of the skill you have, that is what is going to ultimately make you successful. Okay, guys, thanks for joining me. If you are a five-figure business, in other words, you're doing under 100K in revenue right now, and you want to know what's it going to take to break 100K or more in the next 12 months or less, I've designed a webinar specifically designed with you in mind, the five-figure service-based business. It's called the six-figure fast track, how to fast track your business to 100K in revenue or more in the next 12 months or less. There's so much information out there. There's some of it, as I said before, absolute bullshit. There's some of it that's just not relevant to where you are in your own business growth right now. And some of it is good, but how the hell do you know what you should and what you shouldn't be listening to? I'm going to share with you the three things that you need to know about, the three areas you need to have awareness of. We're also going to do a little pressure test on you and say, are you actually 100K ready? Are you six-figure ready? We're going to look at your mindset. We're going to look at your business model, and we're also going to look at your day-to-day methodology. We're going to say, right, do you have the mindset, the model, and the methodology in place in order to achieve 100K or more in the next 6 months or less? And I'm going to share with you what you need to be focusing on and doing on in order to take your business to that extreme growth. If you are a five-figure business and you want to break 100K in the next 12 months or less, like so many of my clients previously, then get yourself on the six-figure fast track webinar, and you'll find it at biggerbrighterbolder.co.uk/fast track, biggerbrighterbolder.co.uk/fast track. I'll drop the link in the description as well below, so you can follow that link straight through. You can also go and check us out at biggerbrighterbolder.co.uk and see what we're all about, what Success Groups is about, and what our Stream Growth Masterminds are about. But if If you're a 5-figure business, get your ass on that 6-figure webinar. You need to know what you need to know right now in order to do what you need to do right now to get to that 100K or more in the next 12 months or less. Thanks for joining me as always. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, as always, be successful.